my name is Angela and welcome to my first podcast episode. I am Isheywisheystitches on Instagram, and on there I showcase all my knitwear and crochet projects. Dog's having a bit of a moment. I might have to just stop this here. Okay, so the dog shut up. Right, so my name is Angela and I am Isheywisheystitches on Instagram. Welcome to my first ever podcast. I was inspired to do this for a number of reasons. I used to run my own fitness business. It was called I Run Success and it was run coaching. I ran many marathons. I coached lots of people to running their own marathons. And one of the things that I really struggled with when I was running that business was being on camera. It filled me with immense fear. And so I did a lot of work around that. And actually I got to the point where I actually quite enjoyed filming things like this. Now I don't do that anymore because I am now a school teacher. So I teach mainly geography, which is what my degree was in, but I also teach quite a bit of science as well. So I was inspired to make this podcast because I have just come back from a trip to Copenhagen and it was just full of yarny delights. And I just really wanted to share them with like-minded people. So it might be that it's just my 3 knitting friends who I chat to every day on Instagram who watch this, but so what if that is all who sees it? I do hope that others will view it too. My plan for today is to follow the usual podcast format. So I'm not wearing any of my own knitwear, but I'll talk about recently finished objects. Then I'll move on to my current WIPs and finally new yarn acquisitions because there were a few of them. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so my recently finished WIPs. Now I am filming this without being able to see what I look like. So I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. So let's see. So the one that I finished least recently, this was finished in, when did I finish this? I finished this at the end of July because I wanted to get it done just before my holiday because it was the deadline for this test net was due during my holiday, although then it got moved back. So this is the Norfolk sweater by Iris Makes, and oh, it's just gorgeous. I absolutely love this. I'll put it on in a moment, but first I'll talk about the yarn. So when I saw Iris post about this sweater on Instagram, I was instantly interested and applied for the test as soon as I saw the test call and got it pretty immediately. But I really didn't want to buy loads of new yarn for it. I've got the same problem a lot of us have, which is lots of yarn in stash. And I've developed as a knitter since I sort of re-picked it up during the lockdowns. I have knit since I was about 10, but on and off. But I've only really consistently done it since the COVID lockdowns, and I've continued it consistently. So this yarn is, well, the blue, let's do the blue first. So the blue is Drops Air that I had left over from another project. And then the main colour is 2 strands of We Are Netter's Finita yarn, which is now Packer Blend, I think. And 1 strand of a long avec and a soft silk mohair. So all of those were in stash. I did have to rip back the Finita because that was part of a kit I'd got from WAC called this Charming Sweater, which I'd started, but it was 3mm needles. I'd actually done the whole back of it, but I was never going to finish it. So I ripped that out and have used it for this sweater. So that's held double, I suppose triple, because 2 strands of Finita, 1 strand of a long avec and a mohair. And again, I had about 1.5 balls of that in stash left over from another project. So I ended up buying, I think, 3 more balls of the mohair, and I ended up buying two more balls of the Drops Air that I actually didn't need. I just had lost it within my stash. But yeah, it's a lovely sweater. I'll see about trying it on. I don't know if I can show the view. If not, I will see if I can do a cutaway. I don't know how to do that yet, so maybe that's a promise I shouldn't make. So here we go. Okay, this is my mirror. This is me, hello. So we have this gorgeous colour work and then the texture here. The colour's not showing great in this light. But yeah, you can see it's slightly cropped on me. I wouldn't typically wear it with these patterned leggings. I'd probably wear it with jeans. And yeah, sleeve length, just at bracelet length. This sweater is so very warm. I wear it quite a lot when I'm walking the dog. It's a great layer for that. Okay, my next most recently finished object is this, which is called the This is called the Scotchbroom wrap, and the Scotchbroom pattern is this lovely pattern on the sleeves, made up of I think they're called drop stitches. Yeah, so I fell in love with the pattern before the yarn, which is often not the way it goes. But I fell in love with the pattern, and then I searched out a yarn I had seen at East Anglia Yarn Festival, which is this gorgeous hand-dyed yarn by Creative Anarchy Yarn. And since buying this, I've become quite the follower. You know how people become Swifties about Taylor Swift? I'm like a anarchist. Is that the right word? So yeah, so Scotchbroom wrap, and I absolutely love it, but I haven't actually worn it since finishing it. I do have a wedding coming up in December, so I was thinking I would wear it for the wedding. I'm just going to take you to the mirror. I was thinking I would wear it for the wedding, and then I just need to find a dress to go with it, but we'll see. So there I am. There it is. So you can see it's a very cropped again. So I'm thinking a dress that's high-waisted and goes out at that level. So it will cover up all the sins of December, because I will eat a lot. So yeah, it's really not picking up the gorgeousness of the colour. I think if I just hold it there. So having told you I'm an anarchist, although I'm not sure that's the right word, my latest finished object is this gorgeous boucle number. So this yarn is also Creative Anarchy yarn, silky boucle, and the colourway, I think it's called Skinny Dipping. So this was from her, when did she release it? It was I definitely got it in July, I think, before we went away. And the pattern is Audrey by, her name's Devin McVenture or something like that. She's Knitty McPurley on Instagram. She has a yarn shop in Virginia in the United States. This used about 1.5 skeins of the silky boucle. I thought I'd need more, and I really didn't. So yeah, so a t-shirt or a jumpery t-shirt for about 150 grams of yarn. I bought 3 skeins, so I could make a second one, or I could make something else, you know, equal size. The thing about boucle is, because of the loopiness of it, you don't need to use, like, you can use a bigger needle size. So this was 400 meters or thereabouts of yarn for 100 grams. So typically that would be a fingering weight, right? So typically you'd be looking at sort of 3 to 3.75 millimeter needles. But because of the boucle, this was knit on 4 millimeter needles, and the boucle sort of takes up the space. It is sheer, and this is, because it's silk, it's cooler than a typical jumper, but you know, great for yarn, what's the word? Being frugal with your yarn, I suppose. So I'm going to put that on. It's not going to look great with this because the neckline's going to look a bit silly with my top. But yeah, and Annoyingly, I first knit this, you can see I've still got a stitch marker on it. I first knit this with this sleeve a little bit too short, and I just couldn't wear it. It was too annoying. I was really excited to wear it as soon as I had finished blocking, and then I had to take it off because the sleeve was just the wrong length. So I've finally gone back and fixed it. So yeah, you can see it's a lovely neckline. Sits just on the shoulders and just at elbow length. Yeah, I'll see if I can show this in the mirror as well. Okay, and I've got one more half finished object, which is this. This is, the pattern's called Lima's Wrist Warmers. I can't remember who it's by, and I can't remember if this is meant to be the right hand or the left hand, but I started it about a year ago and I've only done one, but how beautiful. The yarn is Earth Yarns, and I got it from a trunk show at Yarnworks, which is my local yarn shop. So Yarnworks is only about 20-minute drive from me. And I go there sometimes for knit nights, not as often as I'd like to. But yeah, really, really lovely. I feel so proud that I made that because it's got colour work and it's got Latvian braid, although looking at it, I can tell that some of the Latvian braid isn't right. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, does it? It's not like someone's going to see it on my wrist and be like, oh, did you know that your Latvian braid is wrong? So yeah, so that's it for my recently finished objects. Obviously, how far back do I go when this is my first podcast? But those are recent finishes that I've not yet showcased on Instagram. Well, I did put the Norfolk sweater on, but the others I've not put on my grid as finished objects yet. So yeah. There we go. So before I talk about current WIPs, I just wanted to talk about the chair I'm sitting in. Although you can't see its full beauty. There we go. So it is a wingback chair that in fact used to be my granddad's chair, and when I was a little girl I'd sit on his lap whilst he read stories to me. And when my grandparents died, it went into my parents' house and we had it there, and my parents got new upholstery for it, and then my dad died about 12 years ago, and I took the chair to my flat at the time, and when we moved into this house, my husband actually got it upholstered in this gorgeous silk. He used to work for the company that manufactures this silk, which is used in like palaces and so on, so it's really luxury stuff, and it cost a lot to to upholster the chair, like more than a new chair would cost, but nonetheless, you know, this chair has been going for how many years do I reckon they had it? I reckon they probably got this chair, I want to say 1970s, maybe 1980s, like a long time. So it's good that it's still going. Anyway, on to WIPs. There are a lot, like a lot. I'm not going to try and put them in a logical order. I'm just going to grab them and talk about them as they come. Okay, so first WIP. This is a hipster hat, hipster hat by Petite knit. I have made, I think, 3 or 4 hipster hats already. This one's for my husband. He said he wanted another one because he liked the one he had so much. So I said, okay, if you buy me yarn. And we took a little trip to Yarnworks and we got this, which is an Emma's yarn. Do I have the ball band in here? I do not have the ball band in here. I know that it's going to be a similar composition to the other hat I made for him, which does have a bit of cashmere in it, but sorry, I can't tell you the colourway name or the name. I just know that it's Emma's yarn. So yeah, I cast it on probably about a year ago, but then stopped knitting it because we were out of that season where you wear hats. We're now back into that season where we wear hats, so I would like to get this finished ASAP to free up the needles as much as anything. So I mentioned before I'm a school teacher. I happen to work in a school that has a 2-week half term, so I'm off at the moment, but my children go to a school that has a 1-week half term at the moment, so that's why I can film this now. So I'm hoping that this will be finished by the end of that half term holiday, and we are going on a day trip next week, so I'm going to work on this a little bit at home, but this is a very good car knitting project, so that's what I'm going to keep it for. Next one. So this is called, the pattern is called Planet A. And it is a climate change shawl. So you know how you have temperature blankets where you record the temperature each day for a year and you knit or crochet according to the colours. So this is a bit like that, but a bit different. So as I mentioned before, my degree was in geography and I specialised in climate change or climate change and variability, to be precise. And so the way this works, it's a pattern by Sosuknits and collaboration with someone else, can't remember who, I will have to post that below. But the way this works is I looked at the long-term average temperatures for my closest weather station, which isn't actually in the city I live in, and I wrote them all down. I think I used maximum temperatures for each month. And then at the end of each month of 2024, I have found out the average maximum temperature for that month. And then each deviation from the average gets a colour. So I think it's in 0.5 degree C increments. So I think from memory, this yellow was 1.5 degrees warmer. This brown, quite scarily, was 5 degrees warmer. I can't remember the other ones. So far I've only knit to April. I did start May, which is this orange one, but I've messed up. So you can see the pattern alternates between brioche and garter stitch, and I've somehow messed up the brioche. So I put it down and then I was annoyed about having to rip it back. And I only picked it up a couple of days ago, realising that I only have to rip back like 2 rows. So I don't know why I was so annoyed. So I will get on that soon, because I have already bought the yarn for the next few colourways, next few months. And whilst I can't finish it by the end of the year, I don't want it hanging over loads into 2025, because I want to actually wear it, and B, it's great as a teaching tool. The yarn is Filcolana Alvetta. That's not what's recommended in the pattern, but that's what is easily accessible to me. I can get the colours easily, either by nipping down to Yarnworks, or I sometimes buy it online from Maple Tree Yarns, because they don't charge a bomb for shipping and they usually send it the same day you order it. So I usually get it pretty quickly. So yeah, that's Planet A by Sosuknits. Next WIP. This is a gift knit. So this is the Child This is the Child Aosta Sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, otherwise known as Sophie. I actually test knit this for her. I think it was about 2 years ago, the test knit, although I seem to remember it was in spring, so it would have been like 2.5 years ago. And I have knit it many times since. I did the test for my eldest child. I've since knit another one for her and one for her younger sister. I think I test knit the baby one for her younger sister as well. And then I've knit one for my eldest nephew, and this is for my middle nephew for Christmas. So I did the other one for his birthday, but this one's birthday was in May. So I was going to do it for his birthday, and I thought that's a really silly time of year to give quite a warm woolly jumper to. The yarn is Drops Air, and yeah, it's a really quick knit, 6mm needles, and I love these needles. These are Lantern Moon needles. They're made of ebony and they're so smooth. So yeah, this is one I hope to finish by the end of this half-term holiday, because I want to make another one for his younger brother. I'm starting with the biggest first, because I hope that will help motivate me, because each one will feel like it's even quicker. What am I WIP? What am I WIP? What's my next WIP? Okay, next one. Oh, I love this one. It's such an autumnal one. So this is the Jenny Jacket V-neck by Petite Knit. I'll try and show it there. The yarn is, it's Castleview Yarns hand dye Surrey lace in the colour Salted Caramel, so it's from her Ice Cream Shop collection, held together with Earth Yarns. Oh, what's the yarn called? Let's see if I can grab one. So Earth Yarns 16 fingering, which is 100% superwash ultrafine merino. 200 meters per 50 grams, and that was purchased at Yarnworks. So yeah, Yarnworks balled it up for me. That's the Salted Caramel. So you can see them held together. It's just so autumnal. And I'm doing this as a knit along with my lovely knitting friends. My only annoyance is that I won't get to wear this in autumn, because I'm not going to finish it within the next 6 weeks. Our deadline is to wear it at the East Anglia Yarn Festival, which is on the 15th and 16th of March, I think. We'll be going on the Saturday, because on the Sunday I'll be running a half marathon. So yeah, love it. It's 4mm needles. With this smoked pattern. It will take a long time. It's a lot of knitting, and it's essentially 2x2 ribs, so there's no row that's just knit a row, unfortunately. My next WIP. So this is my next WIP. So this little wormy guy. This is the Loddon Sweater. I'm test knitting it for Sophie, the Knit Pearl girl. And it is, the yarn is Knitting for Olive Merino, held together with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair, both in the colourway Mustard, and they are both part of my recent yarn acquisitions from Copenhagen. So the test actually started about 3.5 weeks ago, and it was really strange for me to get into a test knit and not cast on straight away, or not immediately buy the yarn to cast on as soon as possible. But because I knew I was going to Copenhagen and I wanted to get the Knitting for Olive yarn, I waited and got it in the shop there. And that was a very lovely, fun experience, which I will talk more about shortly. Other WIPs. So this is another gift WIP. So this is the, oh, just dropped it. We all know what this is. Sweet Shop Blanket by Laura Penrose. And the white is Filcolana Arvetta. And the colours at the moment, I think they are all from my Ching Fibre 2022 Advent, but I will add to it. That's sort of a box of the yarn. I am making this for my youngest daughter. So me, my husband and my eldest daughter all have blankets that I have knit or crochet, and she doesn't. So, and the joy of making it for her is that she's small, so I don't have to make too much. I did test knit this pattern, and the requirement for the test knits were to do 6 squares, and that's all I did, and I'm now on square number 11, so I haven't got very far. I want to finish, I think, 8 more squares than I had already done by the end of the half-term holiday, so that would take me up to 16 squares. I think I'm planning to make it 30 squares for her, and then I can add to it if I want to as she grows. And my final WIP that I'm currently working on, but not my final WIP, I've got so many WIPs that I'm not currently working on, is this guy. It's crochet. Can you tell what it is yet? So it's gonna be a frog bag. So those are the eyes. Frog crossbody bag, and again that is also a Christmas gift knit for my youngest daughter, who absolutely loves frogs. This is a yarn. I got this on that site that you shouldn't buy yarn from because, you know, it doesn't pay anyone a fair price, and it is acrylic yarn, so this whole gigantic ball of yarn cost a tenner, but needs must, right? It's for a 2-year-old bag. It's going to get thrown around loads. I didn't want something that could only be hand washed. I want something that I can chuck in the washing machine, and also that I'm not feeling precious about if it does get ruined. So yeah, there we go. So that is all of my WIPs that I'm actively working on. Again, I hope to finish this frog bag by the end of this half term, because I have a long list of Christmas gifts that I want to make. And I don't want to be stressing about it in December. Right, I'm going to have to be quick for this because I need to go and pick my kids up. But now on to yarn acquisitions. So I had the most amazing trip to Copenhagen a few days ago. I went with a friend of mine who is not, I wouldn't say she's not a crafter. She's not a knitter. She does do craft, but she's not doing craft all of the time like I would say me and lots of my knitting friends are. But we had an amazing time. She was very accommodating, and she kind of said to me, "We're going here for yarn, Angela, so you better buy lots of yarn when we go to the yarn shops." And I did. So the first yarn shop we went to was Sommerfuglen. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And it, oh gosh, it had so much. It had a wall just of mohair. It had all of those brands that you know of. So Isaiah, Knitting for Olive, Filkalana, Sandnesgarn. And then it had brands that I wouldn't say are particularly Nordic. So what did I get? So this is the first one. This one is Hedgehog Fibres, and it's called Sorry Not Sorry, which is a great name. Such a great colour. So this is an Irish company, isn't it? I've always been curious about Hedgehog Fibres, but they don't. It's not in my local yarn shop, and obviously since Brexit, like shipping it across just becomes prohibitively expensive, and like especially with these sorts of hand dyes, I want to be able to feel them and see them before I buy them. So now I've kind of seen it, I'm happy with it. This is a fingering weight, 90% merino, 10% nylon, apparently machine washable. And I bought it without a plan, but now I'm going to use it probably in one of the Christmas gift knits. Or I might use it as one of the colours of stripes in the Stripe Hype sweater by Veronica Lindberg. Sorry, I forget how to say her Instagram name. I don't know, but I love this colourway, but it's a bit much for a full garment, I think. So stripes would be good. Then you've already seen this. So we went to Knitting for Olive, the actual shop. Hang on, did I get anything else from Sommerfuglen? Yes, I did. But it's, oh, I've left it in my stash. I've put it away already. Hang on. Right. So the other yarn I got from Sommerfuglen is this. This is a silk mohair, 75% kid mohair, 25% silk, gorgeous orange colour. And I got it to hold together with this, which is another Creative Anarchy yarn. I'm not sure if you can see the sparkles in that. So I got that in the summer together with the other yarns you've already seen. So I got that to hold together with this for nothing in particular. Like I don't know what I will use it for, but now I've got the mohair, I can make it. I did originally get this for another project, but it was the wrong wrong gauge for it. So given up on that idea. Thought I'd get some mohair, that way I can hold it together and it will meet lots and lots of the patterns I already have. And then the other thing I got from Summer Fullgarn was a cross stitch kit for my daughter, and she's started it and she's already doing really well on it. So she's too young really to do knitting yet, so but she can manage the cross stitch. So knitting for Olive, I got the mustard that I've already spoken about. I also got the poppy blue, merino and soft silk mohair, and I got that to make the Astrid sweater, which is also a knitting for Olive pattern. I tried it on in the shop, the sample in the shop, absolutely loved it. Loved the fit, loved the interesting hemline. When I've bought the pattern now, when I read the pattern, I am a little bit apprehensive because it's a bottom up, and I don't really do that. Haven't really done that, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. So, and mainly looking forward to finished garment. And then the last new yarn acquisition I actually didn't buy, my friend did. So we got these from Sosuknits, which is a Danish shop. I'd say it's a bit like what Debenhams was like. No, it's not Debenhams now because it doesn't really do clothes. What's it like? It's like Sosuknits. So it's like homewares. It's like Next Home, but not the big furniture. So Next Home without beds and sofas. So it has like dining chairs and things like that. It has lots of home decor. It has arts and crafts. It has loads of yarn. I heard of it because of yarn, right? It was on someone else's podcast. But this mohair blend is just such lovely colours. It's like the greyish and pinkish colours. And my friend bought it because I'm going to make her something to remember the trip by, and she paid for the yarn. So I get to craft, she gets something. So we're happy. So that's it really. I need to go really soon to pick up my girls. So I will, there's a door shutting. I think I will sign off here. I'm not so sure about doing life update when you don't really know me. Just to say I'm on the school holiday, and yeah, I mean, what's more to say? So if you got this far, thank you for listening and sharing in my yarny joy, and let me know in the comments, is this something I should do again? Do you have any feedback? Yeah, any thoughts? I can't guarantee that I will ever do one again. This was definitely inspiration from my recent trip, but if people like it and I feel like I have time, then maybe I will. So yeah, have a good evening, day, morning, whatever time of day it is. Have a good day, and I might see you next time, or this might be it. Who knows? Bye.